Hello everyone and welcome back to Schneid's 15. Today we are doing a little bit of a different video. We are in southern Saskatchewan right now going across Highway 13 and it's 5 degrees out and we're heading towards snow, and then we're going to come out of the snow and into some nicer weather in Manitoba. It's going to be a long journey, but I've been after this truck. It's a 42 Dodge half-ton short bed, and it's a really nice complete truck. So I got it, and apparently it was last Sask registered, so I can re-register it here, so that's really nice. But anyways, I just thought I'd bring you along on my journey. I've been doing some other filming on my new channel there called Western Canada Classics, so if you guys like tours and stuff like that, check it out. I'm doing junkyard tours on there and all that random stuff. But here's going to be my winter project. It's got a seized engine. It needs some wood put in it. It needs a bunch of stuff. So stay tuned, and we'll see what we can come up with here and see what we can find. And hopefully this truck isn't as big of a job as I think it's going to be. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be fun. And how often do you see a 42 Dodge? Just going through the village of Cadillac right now. This town had a killer little bar, but it's kind of shut down right now. I hope it comes back, but cool spot to stop. There's a little campground there if anybody's ever stopping, going down the Red Coat here or Highway 13. It's a great spot to stop, and camping is by donation, so donate a bit and go from there. Just getting our fill up of A&W here, going through small town Assiniboia. It's a great little town. I love it here in Central, but you know, not a lot open on Sundays. Well, we're driving into the dark. It's weird because Saskatchewan doesn't do a time change and Manitoba does, so we're on the same time zone, so technically they're usually a different time zone. Anyways, got a really nice sunset tonight. I wish I could actually show you guys it looking across, but apparently there's no snow where we're going, so I'm hoping that we get through it. But it's weird, we've lost snow and gained snow a few times here. Apparently where I'm going it's 6 degrees still, and you know, I'm only an hour and a half away, so it's crazy that there's that much of a difference in one day. So I'm really excited for there to be no snow, because at home it's 10 degrees right now, like I said earlier. So we'll touch base when we get there. Well, we're all settled into the mighty F-150 here. I just cracked a beer before bed here, and this is our nice sleeping apparatus. The benefits of being a short guy. See you in the morning. Well, it's just before 7 in the morning. Just got the trailer and the truck living quarters all cleaned up here, and I've been up for a couple hours waiting for the sunrise. So got a beautiful morning. That's the old girl right there. We got a swather in the way, so James will come out here and move that for me, but we're just gonna try and get some air into the tires. Just got it pulled out. Gonna back under it here. All right, we are locked and loaded. I let the air back out of the tires so she wouldn't go flat on me and have my strap come loose, but we're on our way. Well, the drive ain't getting any better. We got 3 degrees. 4 o'clock, got another few hours. We're just going by a spot. You can see a couple of green elevators over there. That's about it. It's real foggy and gloomy because there was snow in the field, so we're hopefully going to get out of that. I just talked to the wife and it's real nice there. Well, that's a nice end to the day. What a beautiful sunset, or whatever you want to call it. Well, after that haul, we finally made it home, and just in time. It started snowing after I got home. We're gonna blow some air up into this rim and tire, and I got some more. We're obviously gonna have to swap these out because they're toast, so we'll get them swapped and some new ones put on and get this thing rolled into the garage, hopefully. This is gonna be loud, I think. I'm scared to get too close to it. All unloaded now. We're heading out in the morning here. I'm gonna go get some rims and tires for this to get it rolled into the shop. They won't be factory, but they'll get in there. I know a guy up here that's got a Dodge, but they're 1 tons, but he's got some Plymouth cars, DeSoto. They should all fit. It's a balmy -15 right now. No luck with rims and tires, so I shot out late last night and picked these up. About an hour drive, but I got all four for 30 bucks. Good rollers. The front wouldn't fit over the hubs, so I had my trusty old hole saw, and since they're just rollers or toast anyways, I just drilled out the hub. It's off center, but it's gonna work. Just got the rims swapped. It ain't bright out yet, so I thought I'd use this little compressor since we're out back. Man, it works well. Odd the cab light didn't come on. Oh, there we go. I found another truck cab and it's got these pieces up here, so I'm gonna go get them today. Somebody robbed those out of here, but everything else is here besides the seat, which I think I can get today as well. But all this stuff is original, and I think I'm just gonna leave it that way because, man, it's just cool to leave it. Well, after a long, strange process, we got her in here. I did a lot of pushing, pulling. I really need a tractor, so we'll see what we can do. Oh yeah, I rescued a couple of these things from the local grain elevator. Don't ask me why, but I couldn't let an animal die. They were there freezing away. So anyways, we're gonna go up and look for some more parts. I found a parts cab that has these plates here for your wiper motor, the covers, and I think I found a seat. So we're gonna let this all get unfroze and start to clean it up. But the rollers worked quite well. The front there, as you can see, I just drilled them out a bit to make them fit. Well, I got a little ahead of myself. The cylinders actually don't look that bad. That piston has a chunk out of it. Actually, not that bad. There's still coolant in the block, so it could be used as a good core. It might not be all rotted out in the water jackets from water, so it got coolant in it. So anyways, there she is. But yeah, you can tell that she was pretty rusty in there, so I'm not even going to put a head gasket back in. I'm just going to set this back on. Put a little bit of lube in the cylinders for the next guy, just in case he wants to pull this apart to rebuild it, but I won't be. Well, I really hate these rims still. But anyways, what I've done is I cut all the metal out of the bed. It was so rusted, rotten, you couldn't reuse it again. And what I did is I went down to the local grain elevator, which I have permission to grab some stuff from there, whatever I want. It's kind of in between on taxes and ownership. And anyways, I spoke with the town and they said to go nuts. So anyways, I grabbed some old wood from there because I wanted it to look fitting for the truck because it's staying like this. So I know it's not, all the purists will not like this, but I got the factory dimensions. I got to pull in this bedside. It's got a wow in it yet. But I got the factory dimensions and took some true 2-inch milled lumber and put it on. So those are 2-inch by 2-inch, true 2x2, not your modern 1.5. So I put the 4 crossers in. There's a double back here. This one's 53 inches. It goes back into there. And then all the other ones, you got your 4 that they line up in the center of these bolt holes. So I'm gonna put all the boards down, get it straight here. I'm just got them laid out here. It's hard to make everything perfectly square here. So we're gonna just get it all laid in here, get it fairly squared up. I've cut my end board here. I had to cut just the lip off of it. But otherwise, I think it's gonna look pretty good. I'll chalk line everything out. And I haven't decided if I'm gonna screw it or nail it in the middle, but the nails might look more appropriate than screws. So I'm gonna tack it with screws for now, just to get everything squared up. And then after that, we might go get some old school short, spiral Ardox nails and put them in because it'll be more fitting with the look I'm going for on the truck. And with this being gray and dusty, it fits the truck just perfect. All bolted in. My washers were pretty bad. There's not much left to them. So I think I'm just gonna use some new ones. I got these here. I think they'll be just fine. Can always swap them out easy enough if somebody would want the proper mounts, but I'll keep these here for now. So anyways, the measurement online from a factory bed that wasn't rotten out, the measurement was 5 inches over, 2 1/4 in. So I marked it out, drilled it just with a smaller bolt just to see. and because I wanted to make sure I had my bed square, and I measured it, I had it pretty close, so it come out right there. So I'd say that's close enough. So I'm gonna drill that, drop a bolt down in, and then we'll do the other one and get to squaring up the front as well. Bolts are tightened down, centered. I had a little bit of an issue where I used the factory mount, the 5.5 over, or whatever it was, 2.5 back. I measured perfect for all my holes and they lined up pretty good, but the box just looked a little bit off on the cab. So here you can see that it's like that, and here you can see it's like that. So I actually moved it this way just a bit. It measures out on the frame perfect at the back and the front. So I think we're dialed in now, but it just looked a little bit off center. I put a mark in the middle right there and a mark in the center of my rear window that my buddy Glenn told me to do, and I put a level on it and it lined up good once I moved it. So I only moved it about 1/4 of an inch, but according to the cab, it's perfectly centered. So anyways, as you can tell, that's very, very shiny. We're putting some stuff on it to bring out the color. I just mixed up popular concoction online is mineral spirits and boiled linseed oil. Normally I wouldn't go for this glossy of a look, which it'll get wiped off as well. It won't look like this, but it'll enhance the color. I'm doing this because I'm not sure if I'll keep this truck forever, and if somebody wants to restore it and paint it, I love the look of it like this, but if somebody wants to buy it and restore it and paint it, the linseed oil can be stripped. But if I use something with a silicone in it, it gets right in there and it'd be a bitch to paint. So I'm doing this because somebody can just hit it with a degreaser and take it right off. Okay, all wiped down. Yep, I'll admit that I do not like it really shiny like this, but the beauty of it is that it's gonna go away. It's gonna start turning into stuff like that. So that's what we want. We just want a bit of a shine, but not a big gloss like it has. So what an amazing amount of color it brings out, though. We just don't want it to look this shiny. So I started out on the interior here, and I was pretty sure that these were the factory door panels, but I'm starting to see signs of stuff. And the way that this was cut and didn't have factory cutting for the gas pedal, and the gas pedal goes on 2 tits from there to there, they weren't cut out. So I knew that. Obviously this has been replaced. I don't know how they were factory, but this was a cutout in here. It's been replaced with plywood. So I'm just gonna make a new piece of plywood or some boards, whatever, but that's a factory cutout. There was wood in there or metal. I don't know, I've seen guys use checker plates, so I don't know actually what was in there. But anyways, back here, this stuff stinks so bad and it's so full of dust that I just, like, you just touch it and it flakes away. So I'm getting rid of it, but I figured out why it stinks. Check this out. See how look at that. From one side to the other. I'll get this out because you guys can't see and hear that well, but man, it is bad. All the gunge is out of here. Man, it was bad. This mouse nest was up to here. There's my seat mount brackets that I need to use, and I'm just currently taking out the other guy's hack job here. Have a seat, well, maybe not a hack job. They did a pretty decent job actually. But I cut a piece of 3/4 inch wood for the e-brake and the shifter and put it in. That's what they had factory. So that's good. And then I think I'm gonna paint the floorboards black. I think it'll look really good. So I'll get this cut out and cleaned up. And then we gotta go get our original seat, which would go around here. It's probably gonna be a treat to get out and get put back in, but we'll see. All right, floor is painted. Man, this light is not doing any justice or doing me any good here. Bunch of wood and crap fell out because I just got the window open. Somebody had screwed it shut because the mechanism was missing. So out of a donor cab, I found one. I just got it freed up and lubed up and it works good. I have to take off the old piece of the windshield. I had to cut it out because those screws would not come out. So we're gonna get to nipping those off. And I got 2 broke off in the windshield there. And then we'll put this unit in and get it cleaned up. And then we'll have a working windshield. It's pretty cool. That's your air conditioning right there. So there is some delamination on the bottom of the windows, but overall they're in pretty good shape. I just got to clean them. Just got up to the junk pile here, bombed her across the field. The snow's deep in here, but it ain't bad out there, so I took a good run at it and hope for the best. It's nice and dry, so you can still get out here, or the snow's nice and dry so you don't get stuck. Anyways, here's our donor cab. We're gonna grab the seat out of here, which is right here. So I just unbolt it from there, and I'm gonna grab out any other little pieces I need and get back home. The plan is just to cut the floor and get this seat base out of here. Well, it was easiest just to cut the back of the cab off around from pillar to pillar and slice the floor to the middle. Everything else has been cut and stripped out of it already, so I'm not doing any harm. All right, so I just did a bit of straightening on the back of the fenders. Some of their welds were broken, and some of it was brazed, so I just put a couple tacks in the middle, just here and here. It looks pretty crappy, but at least it's held straight now. So the fender was all dented in on the top from people standing on it, I suppose, and it straightened out really nice. Actually, it had a bunch of big creases in it, so it's still dented up and beat up, but you know, it's better. So did that on the other side as well. And in here, there was a big whack right in here, like a big deep dent. So I just got in behind and pried a little bit, and it actually come right out. So it's still not perfect, but it's a, you know, pretty good looking truck now. Anyways, looking at the engine here, we're gonna have to yank that out. Looks like we can just undo these bolts, or right here maybe, and the back of the fenders and the front clip, and we should be on our way. So that's pretty sweet. These old trucks were just made to work on. 3 bolts here, 1 on the fender. There's 1 on the inner fender here, right there, that attaches to that clip there. 2 on the bottom of your rad. Repeat that on the other side. And then you have these 2 rods. They should come up, but those bolts are seized in, so I just undid them from here. And your whole front end's free, 1 rad hose. And I'm assuming there should be wiring on my headlights, which is MIA. Well, that was super, super easy. If I had the cherry picker here, it would have been really easy, but I tilted it up onto my wheeler here and rolled it over there and got it out of the way now. So that's pretty sweet. Now we'll, I can still get it out of the door. Like I said, this shop's not ideal, but we're making it work. So I'll have lots of room to bring an engine in here and pull the other one out. So probably just get to yanking this one today and get an old turd out of here. Okay, well, about an hour later, it's actually unseized the engine now. I had to unseize it because I didn't realize that your flywheel goes into here. Usually you pull your bell housing bolts and you can pull your engine out, but your flywheel is wider than this housing here and it can't come off. So I pulled the inspection cover and managed to get a bunch of the bolts off. Their nuts on the inside of the crankshaft. And then I started prying. I actually put this old railroad jack on the teeth of the ring gear because I don't care about it. And I jacked it way up and was prying, prodding. All of a sudden it let out a jump and I just kept turning it and prying it. It wasn't easy, but I got it all the way around enough that I could get all the bolts out. So now we're gonna pull the engine. Just heading to get an engine for the old Dodge. We found one that's out of a 48. The guy claims that it ran a couple years ago. It's very complete, has all the missing stuff that I need, and it's a good day for a drive because look at that, -20. It is cold. It's gonna be up above freezing next week, but for now, she's chilly. We'll touch base on our way. Well, we're just going through Conquest, Saskatchewan. There ain't much left here in Conquest. It got down to -25 here, but I was up to down to -34. Man, I love these old prairie towns. But yeah, -34 was chilly. It felt balmy at -25. For home, the snow benefited me. I backed my trailer up, slid it on out into here, and shut the garage door. It was down, I think I touched base with you guys when it was -27 or something. It went down to -34. it was cold. So that's the new engine. Cats are here checking it out. But if you look at it, somebody's put new frost plugs in here and here. It was painted. The carb had been cleaned up at one point. This was loose, that's fine. I don't care because I got another carb. But everything, like the ignition parts, everything looks like it was gone through. It's got a reman Wilson here of Winnipeg, reman generator on it. So my guess is that somebody, once upon a time, has hopefully refreshed this engine. We'll find out. But apparently it ran good, and that was a couple years ago, and even the water pump looks new. So we'll check out that and see if maybe somebody did once upon a time go through this. It would be really good because we paid $500 for this thing, and yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it's good. The only difference that I can see out of both motors is that the right in here, this truck should have had a crank originally. It has a hole for one, but this ain't for a crank. So I don't know if this motor was swapped into it at one time or what, but this one's got a spot for a crank. The fan on this one has 6 blades. This one's got 4 blades. We can swap that out really easy if need be. The water pump and the pulley on this one are a little bit bigger now by the looks of it as well, just the pulley. But either way, we can swap that out. So if that matters, maybe this is a more efficient fan, didn't need as many blades with the smaller pulley. I don't know, but we're gonna go. The belt on it is still from February of '69. So yeah, we'll get to pulling some bolts here and getting this sucker lifted up and set it in place, and then at least it's where it needs to be. Okay, so we went to put it in, and I realized that I was looking at the oil pan, and you see how the bulge is to the right there, and on the old engine it's to the left there. So I just pulled the pan, and I thought I'd look around while I was in there. Man, the cylinder walls, everything got like mint cross hatching. There's signs of markings on the connecting rods and the main bearings and stuff, like they've been punched so they knew where to put them back. So I'm thinking that this engine was refreshed and rebuilt at one point. Even the pan looks new or newer. So right now all I gotta do is figure out if I can just simply rotate this oil pickup the other way, which I think I can. I don't see any reason why I can't. Actually, yeah, it'll clear if I go. It'll be on a bit of an angle. I'll just rotate it. I think they probably make them so they can go either way, but we'll find out. I'll give this a rotate. If not, we'll just yank the pan off the other engine, and we're gonna have to grab the oil pickup out of it and everything and swap it over. All right, I skipped a few steps just because I didn't know what I was doing and I looked stupid doing it. So the engine is bolted in now. Swap the oil pan, not a big deal. Oil pump pickup and everything is the same. I actually have been rolling the engine over by hand without the spark plugs, oiled the cylinders just in case, and I pulled off the oil line right there that goes up to your gauge, and there's oil squirting out of it already now that I've turned it over by hand. So that's a good sign that we're gonna have good oil pressure. Old intake manifold had some rust in it because the engine was sitting like this. So anyways, I'm using the one off of the truck itself because the one off the other one had too long of a hump here. Kind of comes out straight, and you could never get the engine back out. You could probably bolt it in now, but see how this comes way in here? The other one's like this, where it comes out a few inches, and this one is specifically made like that. So we got everything cleaned out, the exhaust manifold cleaned out. I ran it all through water and hosed it out on the inside to get everything out. And then the intake manifold, I soaked it in whatever you call it last night. Evaporust. Soaked it all night, and then I cleaned it all out in the sink this morning, blew it all out with air, took some rags and ran them through just to be sure. It would probably never get sucked in if there was any rust in there, but I get a little anal with this stuff. So we're gonna bolt this sucker on now. The gasket actually looks really good in here. I'm just gonna clean it up just a little bit, and we'll bolt that together and hook up our It's kind of like a Dodge grid heater. They're electronic to heat up your intake, or not electronic, they run off 12 volts and heat up a grid, so you have warm to heat the Cummins to get it to start in the winter instead of glow plugs. And this is kind of the same setup, that it heats up your carburetor or your intake and gives it warm air until it's warm, and then that'll flip over and close, and then it's not heating your intake anymore, not as much. But when this is open, it lets air come into here and heat up your intake. So kind of cool design. Lots of the old stuff use that. So let's bolt this up, clean the carb, and see if this sucker will fire up today. Okay, I just had this thing started. I did not expect it to start up as well as it did. Anyways, we just threw a 6-volt battery into it. I got a wire, just a gator clip running to the battery. I'm gonna start it up here and show you guys, but I just want to make sure it ran good before I start outfitting the front clip to it again and doing the wiring and all that jazz. So we'll hook up a proper fuel system too, but for now we're gonna start her up. Let's see. Okay, well, we just had a run in there for probably 10 minutes, and now I decided I'd just strip off the engine here. So we got her all stripped down, except those oil lines are pretty rusty. The head is so rusty, the block's rusty, the valves, like, look at the ports. It was toast. So only thing we're not saving is the oil pump and the front motor bracket, but looks like they're the same on pretty well everything. The water pump, you know, you can buy those, they're toast. The oil pump you can buy. It's all going to scrap. Okay, all tuned up, ready to go. That carb was a bear to clean, and as you can see, I have done a little bit of wiring. I haven't tidied it up yet, but I cut out all the old wiring, put the new wiring in. I just made a base for the seat because I can't get the proper seat cover for it, because with this new shipping thing, couriers aren't taking on any more shipments, and Canada Post is still on strike. So that's the seat for now. It works good though. Anyways, under here we got the wiring. I'll show you. And as you can see, I was just running it on that bottle, but everything is all wired up in there. The horn works, etc., etc. I filled it up with coolant. The rod holds, heater core holds, everything. I can't believe it. And I managed to pick up these rims and tires for it. They were cheap, 375 bucks off my buddy GW there. So I needed the rims, and the tires weren't quite as tall as I wanted, but they looked good. So I painted them green. It wasn't dark enough, and then I dyed them with tire dye that I have. It's like, I forget what it's made out of, but it dyed them, and it's pretty well close to the same color as the truck now. And they're a little bit, you know, a little bit rough looking, and that's exactly what I wanted, because I wanted it to match this. So that's all done. Tidied up that green door a little bit. It had a bunch of rotten wood in there. I just tore it out and left it. because whoever, if I sell this truck, they'll likely want to just put in a different tailgate or whatever. They might want to leave it, I don't know. But she fires up and runs good, as you guys can see, and just a beautiful truck. And I think I'm gonna leave it at that for this episode. I've went around and I'm just waiting on a brake master cylinder now. This one is absolutely toast. So I'm hoping I'll get lucky and the wheel cylinders will be all right. Not likely, but I've went underneath and I sprayed that all down, and I got each wheel cylinder loose. I checked the diff fluid. It was low, so I filled it up. It did have a little bit of a pinion leak. It seemed to stop now. I did overfill it a bit. So either way, that seal will need to be replaced at some point. Transmission was low, so I got it filled up too. It wasn't bad low, but I filled it up. Went around, greased everything, and I managed to score this exhaust off of an old Plymouth car. Bolted it right up, put the muffler on. It's really, really quiet. It's beautiful. So bottom of the bed, everything just looks so good. And I also made the front cab mounts. I don't know if you can see them here. Right there, just at a Douglas for 2 inches. And now the cab sits level as well as the bed. And yeah, that's about it. Sorry for this video for being so jumbled up, but I've been working my ass off on this, and I've just been, I've only owned it for 3 weeks now, and I've just been going hard on it, just enjoying myself. So some of the filming was bypassed for that reason. But anyways, I'm gonna upload this now. Thanks for watching, and tune in for the next episode on what we get doing with this truck.